everybody. Welcome to Behind the Masterminds episode
14.
Ooh, 14. Wow. Yeah,
Not counting anymore.
We're losing count.
Yeah.
So before we get into it, we're going to announce the raffle winners from episode 12, which was episode 1, Family Secrets by Mobile Escape.
Yes. All right.
Yeah, let's find out who it is. And I'm very excited because this is a great game. So, what is it? Who is it?
It's Ace from Bluefish.
Oh, Bluefish! Congrats, Ace!
Awesome. We're probably gonna crack
Yeah, you're gonna love that game. He might get hooked and start, cranking out all the episodes after that.
Yeah. And then before we even go into the episode 14 today, but with Conundrum Box,
yes,
we wanted to let everybody know that there will be a 20% off discount code if you order their games for the next 6 months.
Wow, yeah, that's like no excuses. Yeah. You have plenty of time to go.
Plenty of time with ESCAPETHEROOmers code, and also as we're interviewing the questions for them, if you have anything that you want to ask, feel free to type it into the chat and we'll get it to them.
So let's get into it. With us, we have Dan and Meredith from the Conundrum Box. How are you guys doing?
Hi.
Good, how are you doing?
Great.
We're great. Glad to have you on the show. They are lead designers, founders, and owners of the Conundrum Box. They have been in the escape room industry since 2015 and actually owned and operated 2 brick and mortar locations in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas for 2 years. They design rooms for other companies, but their main escape room related business at the moment is the Conundrum Box. And that's what we're here to talk about.
Yes. So since 2015, we were wondering how many Conundrum Boxes have you created so far, and what are the inspirations back then to create these boxes? Did you get some from your actual operating escape rooms?
Well, we had, with the original 2 escape rooms that we put open, we actually had like a preview game that we were mailing out. We did like 20 of them, and the people didn't buy them, but it was like a prequel to the actual escape room before people came. But it turns out that people, booked their escape room the day of, so it didn't really work so much. So that's when we first started doing them. But then when we closed down, we moved to permanently. And I think we're on 16, releasing the 16th one in October, and we have 3 or 4 more designed, and then a couple holiday games still that haven't been released. So
yeah, we really we got into the box kind of ideal from we had. Once we closed our escape room, we had a whole backlog of games that we had bought, and we had not been having any time to play them. So we started playing them, and we were like, it's kind of like when we got into the escape room business. Like, we started playing escape rooms, and we're like, we love this. And it was a way that we could continue. We loved designing games. We loved having that creativity. So in just a way, even though we had already done a couple to get our feet wet, we were like, let's just go for it, so we can keep designing games and having that. So
yeah, I mean, talking about the holiday ones, we've actually heard from our friends at Room Escape Artists that they played your Christmas tree one, and it was pretty amazing. I mean, I don't think it's a spoiler. You're able to actually build something out of it at the end, which you can actually use for the holidays.
Yes, our seasonal boxes it's a little bit different than our regular subscription. The subscription is more story based, and while the seasonal boxes are kind of more item and just physical puzzle based, things that you can't necessarily fit inside a little mailer box. So that was the seasonal boxes I take a little bit more control over, and Dan does more of the story-driven stuff, but the holiday game was one of my favorites that we've designed. It was fun.
Yeah, we had great things about it.
Yeah.
By the way, I love the Orient Express game. It was so much fun. I didn't like Sleight of Hand. We actually played Sleight of Hand with Room Escape Artists on Zoom.
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
But the Orient Express, because we got to play just me and her and absorb the whole entire game, it was really, really cool.
Thanks.
And I guess during the beginning of your creativity of the company, are there any kind of hardships you encountered? What's one incident that you remember the most? And also, we want to know if it gets easier.
Changes. It's so different it was, I think at the biggest hardship was transitioning from designing a physical escape room and everything that goes into that, and then trying to make that into a box, because we still wanted them to feel gated, like you're progressing through a game and like figuring out how we were going to do that. And in some ways you think that designing a box game is going to be so much easier, but in some ways it's so much harder, because you have, the sky's the limit. So it's like it's whatever you can think of that can go in the box. So in some ways, while you're more limited with a physical game by like what you can put inside a building, it's harder to edit yourself. Editing is hard for us.
Yeah.
I think also the first ones we designed them more like our escape room philosophy, where we always design multiple puzzle paths. Like if you're going to go to one of our rooms, you're going to have 2 or 3 things to do at once. And turns out that doesn't work as well. So you played the 2 games you played, we start gating where there's 2 or 3 puzzles available, but you put together the codes in order to gate to the next section of the section. So that's something we developed over time. That was probably kind of like the biggest feedback we took the first 3 or so games. Like there's just so many directions to go, and we're like, well, I guess we're gonna have to figure out how to streamlining.
It's kind of one of those like differences between, you have like the puzzle enthusiasts, the puzzle box enthusiasts, and then you have the people that really are your bulk of your subscribers. And so it's kind of like, you want to satisfy both types of customers. How both types of players, how can it be a satisfying game for both types of players? We were finding that especially a lot of the first time players were overwhelmed with just how many things that there were to go on. And so editing that and figuring out how to really streamline that, it changes, we develop it more and more every game. And I feel like, it's starting to get to a point where what are we, 16, 20 games in now? And we're
figuring out some formula. Yeah, I mean, like we definitely felt that throughout the games, that it has that vibe of an escape room where you're unlocking virtually like these envelopes and then you're going through a little bit, going into like a different a room or different like scene setting, and traveling, through the narrative.
Yeah, with the Orient Express, I just feel like I was on the train. Like I felt like I was there as a passenger, and trying to work my way and solve
different cars.
Yeah, like it really felt like we were there. So
good. That game mechanic was something he was so excited to try. And he was like, I have this idea. I just want to make it feel like that. And it's good to have that feedback that you felt that way.
Oh, well done, because we definitely felt that. So you're definitely considered veterans in the box game category in the industry. Was there a lot of competition back then, or like do you feel like the increasing amount of creators out there in the industry is getting more competitive, and is it impacting your business at all?
So I think it's, like she was saying, there's 2 different groups. There's the puzzle enthusiasts, and then there is the general public. I think there's always a lot of general public to go around. But you guys are members of that puzzle people group, and everyone has a new Kickstarter every week, so everyone's broke. So I think there is competition in that realm, but eventually people get around to our games. So we understand that what keeps the company going is probably the subscription, and then the puzzle people get to benefit from that as we keep making games and they eventually get to them. When we started, there was pretty much Deadbolt and Escape the Crate. I mean,
there was a few others.
Oh, Finder Seekers.
Finder Seekers.
Yeah. The big names are still kind of the big players, but I actually, and especially since the pandemic has started, we've seen so many actual escape room companies try to diversify to try to sustain themselves. So we've seen a lot of kind of smaller one-off box games pop up, and honestly I think it's great, because it's just every single company, whether it's our biggest competition of like Deadbolt or Escape the Crate, Finder Seekers, all of our games are so different. And then you have the Kickstarter, more one-off games, aren't subscriptions, that everything is so different, and there's different games for everybody. So tried to, when we were designing our first games, we were like, we were sitting on there and we were playing, and we were like, should we do this? Should we not? Kind of going back and forth, like how we did it with the escape room. And I would make dinner, and we would sit down and have a glass of wine while we started our box. And that was kind of something that fueled us too, is like, how can we make this different? And that's when we decided, let's do this playlist. Let's add recipes. Let's add these extra things that, we don't see with the other boxes right now. And that's actually been something that has been some of our greatest feedback, is that we kind of tried to make it more of an experience.
Yeah.
That is true. I mean, like when I was looking into the boxes that we were playing, I'm like, ooh, I can make this like icebox cake, or get this drink going while we're playing the game, which I'm actually very excited. I don't know if you actually made a drink from these two games, or we'll see.
People that we have that comment, send us emails or surveys and say, I made this recipe and it was so good. And in fact, we always make the recipes that we post, that we add in the games. And some of the recipes that we've made have become part of our regular rotation of our favorite recipes. So it's actually been really kind of beneficial for us too.
I think it's like very similar as if you were having like a watch party, invite friends over, and it's like, oh, so let's get some chips, let's get some to set the tone before watching the movie. So I think it's the same thing as before you play the game. You're kind of like getting drinks, you're making food, and you're about to open up the box and start playing. So I think you really provide that full experience of just like getting people together and do it together and play.
Yeah. We do have a question from Jillian.
Oh yeah, so Jillian.
She's very excited that you have international shipping, by the way.
She wants to know if someone was interested in trying your games, which of your retired individual boxes would you recommend to get a better sense of your games?
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah.
We have our favorites.
Yeah, what a way to put them on a spot, Jillian.
She's also one that's broke, so she only can do.
So, we'll address international shipping first because that's easier. The retired box, all you do is just send us an email. We set up a custom PayPal invoice. It's better to buy multiple times because we can usually get 3 into the same price as 1. So that's what we usually tell for international people. Contact us and we'll try to work shipping out better that way. Best games, do they have to be in stock right now?
My favorite game is our Storyteller 2-part series. Storyteller was one of our actual escape rooms that we had, and we translated parts of that into the box game. So it was very special for us. And I love the story in Storyteller, and I think that Dan did some really cool things there. And I actually also really, really love Wild World, which is just a couple of months old. We're big Disney people. We love theme parks. And this Dan is actually a historian, and one of his probably dream things, it's going to be kind of side-eye right now, is he'd love to be like a Disney historian. So we had a lot of fun designing that game and bringing some of our favorite stuff into that type of setting. So those would be my 2 favorites.
Well, Dan, you said it doesn't have to be in stock. It could be whatever one that you're.
Well, I think everything will be stocked by Christmas. But anyway.
Oh no, you gotta start saying
you gotta gear up for the holiday season.
We're working on it.
As soon as we move, all we're doing is packing boxes for the next month. So. I think either Wild World or Sleight of Hand, but also Storyteller. Storyteller just was, I like it, it's a 2-part game, but I just like what we did into it a lot. And I guess because we always wanted to continue that story anyway, like an updated or a second version of the room if we had more time in the actual physical rooms space what we were doing. So.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, I think another thing that I really liked with the Orient Express was that you really left a nice cliffhanger there for us. We're like, what's gonna happen?
It really felt like the kickoff of, I guess, sequels to come.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to. It really kind of made us.
But I'm a
feel
huge Disney man too, so I'm just like,
oh yeah, she's sold. Anything Disney, she's like, sign me up.
Pink. Whatever color.
A pink Disney box? That's it. She's
all right. Let's do it.
I'll make you a custom pink Disney box.
Oh my god.
We'll be able to sell it, but.
Question number 4.
Yeah. So with the current condition, I know you had said something about the COVID situation, but did you realize your sales has increased since then because more people are staying home, or do you feel like your group of loyal friends are kind of, staying with you throughout these years, no matter what the situation is out there?
I think we have a loyal base that started in the beginning that's still here. Some have had to cancel because of financial reasons. We get that. Like, we get personal emails sometimes. It's just like, we're sorry, we love the games, but we just can't. Like,
you got to take care of yourself.
Yeah, you got to take care of yourself. Like, hey, that's the entertainment. It's like, I'm glad you're happy. I was like, well, here's a discount when you come back, kind of thing. But
that's nice.
We did see quite an increase in subscriptions starting in March. More beginning of April, but and it's kind of held pretty steady and is still increasing.
It's dropping.
Okay, well. But there's the people that are staying home that need something to do, and we get little bursts. Like right before back to school started, we had a little burst. It's been really interesting to see how COVID has affected the sales, because I know that we have been on a steady subscription increase, but with the unfortunate, it's unfortunate absolutely on a global scale, but for us it's been good because we have been able to get our games to some more people's homes.
And it's just, it's hard we try to be humble because we know we're, benefiting from something that's terrible. So that's always been hard for us. So,
but people got to do something locked up in their house.
Yeah. I wouldn't really call it like terrible. I think it's more of like you're actually providing another an option for people to kind of get entertained at their homes.
Yeah.
It's a great thing. Yeah, and also I know you also mentioned something about the differences in your beginning boxes and like now, but has anything changed from the first box, because we haven't seen the first box, but in terms of like the box design, the puzzle design, and the story aspect of it?
We've learned to edit. The first box was just huge. It was so hard.
People said it took them 4 sittings, and so we completely redesigned Mardi Gras so it was smaller.
Yeah.
And then re-released it as a retired box.
It's very, very difficult to judge, even with testing, how people are going to be able to complete the puzzles and how long it takes them to do it. If you're in an escape room setting, you get to actually watch them and you can make adjustments as you do it. Like, even though we have, we test for a month before we send out our box, our final, still puzzles. We get people, that first few weeks that say, man, this just didn't work for me. And we're like, how did this happen? It's like, we tested all of this.
You should be happy.
But it's like, once it goes out, like, you can't do anything about it very much. And so it's,
so how big was that box? Just so we know, like, in terms of size wise.
Yeah, I'm imagining like a huge cardboard box with like things on it.
The same size, but we hit the maximum. We were at 15.9 ounces, which is the maximum to send it first class. We had to like take beads out of it and stuff that were in it.
And how many envelopes did that one have?
Oh, it had like 11 envelopes.
Wow.
It just was, and they were full. Like, it was.
Yeah, it was like.
And people were like, "We can't finish this in 2 hours," and we were like, "Oh man." Because one of our problems is that we have so many ideas. We try to make everything be story driven, so it's like we want to tell this story, and the puzzles, as you do it tells the story, and you kind of get in a situation where you're like, if I cut this out, are we telling the story that we want to tell? And so there's a lot of editing that we have learned over the last 20 months.
That was already the short version that we read.
Yeah.
Right. We have learned to edit puzzles and story. There was a lot of reading in the first 4 or 5 boxes, and it's that's something that I get on to him about, because he gets going and he's character. This is happening. We've tried a few different ways of I think what was the one that did we in Emerald Isle? We kind of had, or was it Sky Gods, where we had, if you want to read the story, you can read all this, or you can just read this little blurb.
Yeah, I think it was in Sky Gods.
So is it like Dan's version and Meredith's version? Like, read Dan's version.
Yeah, because we have friends and they're like, we don't read it. But then we also have people that are long-term subscribers that we have a recurring character, and multiple recurring characters actually, that, you know, it doesn't actually impact the game or you understanding the story,
Right.
but they look for these characters and they're invested in this storyline. And so, you know, if we have a puzzle where somebody doesn't appear, they're like, where is she? Where is she? What is she doing? What is her motive?
What do you do with them?
Take
So,
you really enjoyed it this time. You read through the entire thing yourself. I was
Yeah.
very proud of you.
I actually read.
So
You know what it is? If you read something and like you're interested and you start to get pulled in, because, and that just shows how great of a writer you guys are, is that you start to become involved, like you're actually there, and then now you want to know,
yeah.
like you want to keep reading it, and it's like, what happens next?
Well, because you also want to discover if there's a twist, and there was a twist.
Yeah.
Okay.
so we're learning the balance of getting all of the story out versus, you know, writing a novel.
Yes. All right, so we'll take one quick break and just let everyone know that they're giving away one of their copies of their Temple of the Sky Gods.
Temple of Sky Gods.
Really awesome.
Yeah. We heard it.
It's story and full story.
So the secret phrase is, I love me some conundrum.
I love me some conundrum. Ooh, that rhymes. I love me some conundrum.
Did I
Rolls
make
off
it
the tongue.
rhyming?
I love me some
Phrase by
conundrum. So make sure you type that in the comment section below. Type it anywhere that you see this video, which is going to be on IGTV, on YouTube,
Yes.
on Facebook. And then from now until episode 16, you'll have a chance to enter into our raffle and win a chance to win Temple of the Sky Gods.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah, sounds really cool. So, yeah.
All right, so continue on. We wanted to know, have you made these changes because you feel like the players have changed the way they play the games, starting from like certain types of, you know, games that they like, or are there decisions that you made from or just like economical standpoint? Like shipping, like box sizes or weights and whatnot.
Yeah, the box size is because of shipping, and the weight is because of shipping. I mean, if you go over the 1 pound, all of a sudden you're paying about $10 more to ship. So, but I think puzzle-wise, some games we get a puzzle where people either hate it or love it, and then we have to think twice about using something anywhere similar to that kind of design.
We read every single comment of every single email, survey, any feedback that we get, and we discuss it. We have there's a varying degrees of players. We have families that want to play with their kids. We have people that are really seasoned puzzle players, and we get feedback from the whole gamut of types of player styles. So we take everything seriously. We want when people say, I hated this puzzle, you're always going to get, not always, but sometimes you're going to get people that aren't going to be happy with anything.
Yeah.
But if we start getting feedback, 3 or 4 comments on this puzzle was just too hard, and we take that into consideration for how we design future things. So things, and it's organic, where and then also it's hard to be just continually creative and come up with new things. So
yeah.
That's for sure.
We want to be creative, and that really drives a lot of our puzzle design as well. Have we done this type of puzzle before? What can we do that's different?
Yeah, we kind of put puzzle designs on timers, like how long ago was it that we did that? And, it's like you don't put the same puzzle ever in, but how many times do I have a movement puzzle like this on a map?
Or how long has it been since we did a decode and those kind of things?
Yeah, well, I mean, so many of these themes are always like recycled, but I think what you guys managed to do is take a popular theme, but make it yours. Like you've been able to make it creatively different but still with this, what most people would love about it anyway. It's like Orient Express or like a pirate theme, game. Like I think you were able to take that and like make it yours, and people
and I think
appreciate that.
Even like the Sleight of Hand and magic ones, I like how you're always able to find some prop where you can like kind of utilize again at home. So like after the game, you can still play these like normal cards.
We were really, and that goes into our puzzle design as well. Like we'd sit there and say, okay, this is the thing we want. What would we like there to be physical in the boxes if we, can fit it with weight, size, limitations, all of that stuff? How can we make it more diverse? There are some games where it is just hard to find physical props that fit the theme, that fit what we want to do. But, if we can do something, like we talked about the magic theme game, and the first thing Dan was like, he's like, I want to do card tricks. And so I was like, you will figure that out. You do what you want. And so that. I
haven't managed to get this thing to work though. Like I'm always like, give me a hug.
That was hard for me. There is actually, look, this is not a spoiler for anybody that hasn't played Sleight of Hand, because there is a magic wand inside the box. What was the original intention of that magic wand when we got our original samples of the product? One of the tips is supposed to come off, and we were going to hide something inside the wand.
It's a part that we looked at.
Yeah, we tried.
Yes, and so I, anytime you have a box game and you can hide something, like that's what I'm like, yes, we can hide something. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So we had started packing, and I packed 500 wands with something hidden inside the wand. And then I got to my next box of 500 wands, and all of the tips were glued on and could not remove them. And,
it was a different brand?
It was the same brand.
Same
they
shipment.
just changed the production of it. And so it was like, it completely changed. We had to completely change our puzzle flow. We had to completely change a whole bunch of different little elements of the game because the wands that we had, and I could have had bruises on my hands for. Though my hands hurt for 3 or 4 days afterwards from trying to rip the ends off of these wands.
So we must have got one of the ones, the originals.
The magical ones.
Yeah.
Or we were of course.
They had one of the magical ones.
Limited edition.
It was very disappointing. And we talked about, so I had already stuffed 500, and we talked about leaving them in, but then we also thought, well, what happens, if people are reading this and we're like, oh, you found something in your wand, and then you're the person that doesn't get the wand that has the hidden wand. So then I had to unstuff 500 wands. So
yeah.
Wow.
We actually see that like some of the games that you have based on like maybe when you shipped it, you're trying to like you're pretty completed, like covering yourself in terms of like, hey, if you miss out on this print, but here's the PDF, and then just in case you don't have that, here's where you can get it. So we really like the fact that at least like, it doesn't stop the game. So like while you're playing the game, you feel like you miss something. Now you have to email the company to get it or something, but at least you have everything there just in case.
Yeah.
So that's great. Yeah. All right, so even though like we only play the 2 boxes so far, I feel like the format really reminds us of escape games. Like we said, you have the intro story, you have the puzzles you want to solve, and then you have like opening new envelopes and discovering new territories with them. So first of all, I love opening envelopes, by the way, and discovering what's inside. So like just keep giving me envelopes. You just like do one piece in there, then. Yeah,
but her ability to resist from opening, it's
you. Well, even though you could just like give us, everything in like one big envelope, I feel like that format of playing, having smaller envelopes is more enjoyable. It just feels like more organized and it's linear, and then it kind of gives you that feel of the story development. So are all your boxes like the 2 we played, or do you have different types of feel in different, other games?
Most of them play that way. I think like Mardi Gras is more of a whodunit, so there's a little bit of deduction. But most of them play, the new ones, they mostly play in that manner where, you go from envelope, they all have envelopes, but you go from envelope to envelope and you have a certain amount of things in a certain setting that you use.
And every once in a while, we'll try a new game mechanic, like what you saw in Orient Express with the point system and tracking through that. We did something similar, not similar, but trying a different type of game mechanic in Artemis Rescue.
Yeah, we did choose your own adventure, so you can go to different planets.
In different orders. So you can complete all of the envelopes, but you kind of can choose which order you go. Oh. So trying to be creative in ways like that. But yes, in general, it's the same type of game flow. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's really choose your adventure.
Yeah.
Open your envelopes.
But I do appreciate the fact that
the choose your own adventure was like programming the website, and we're not really website programmers, so it was tough. And then Squarespace lost half the website like 2 days before launch, so rewriting the whole thing, it was not. So that we were talking about trials and tribulations that we've had. The website is like one of them. It's always for some reason Squarespace is always doing something that thwarts our plans.
And with growth, we do hope to get more custom design. That's something that we really want to work towards. So
same.
Yeah.
Same, because we don't like Wix either. So that's another one you were considering.
I mean, Wix is very user friendly, but it has
very
its
limited
quirks
to what
too.
you
the graphics on the boxes, as you see behind us, they're all very amazing, obviously. But you kind of like when you're opening them. What's your creative team like? Like, how many people do you have? Like, is there a specific job or roles that some of them have? Because we're really intrigued by
one person.
Dan is our graphic designer and our lead puzzle designer and our lead story man.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
wow, that's just so you're everything.
But
I guess
before you give me too much credit, I buy a lot of licensed vectors and change and modify and stuff. I can't draw, so
I've been extremely impressed with the things that he's created. I did not know getting into this and he's definitely improved and grown over this last year or 2 years, but I've been very impressed. I didn't know that he had that aspect to him, so it's been really cool to see him. Our actual design process, we sit down and we talk about the things we want and why and what, we're like, we want this to happen. Like, we want this, we're designing this game because of this specific puzzle or few puzzles. And then when we go to actually design the game, we say, okay, this is the story we want. How do we get there through the puzzles? And we write them all out. And then Dan kind of takes it and goes with it, and then I have to rein him back in. And
so you're saying it's not Dan's COVID beard that's more attractive to you? It's a real puzzle.
Maybe for longer than COVID.
I believe it today, and she said don't do it. So.
But the best thing is the COVID haircut that I gave him 2 months ago. It's finally grown out, so he looks like a human again.
Oh my gosh! So
we could have made this whole episode of talking to you.
Every time I got something wrong.
You know what? That's a new challenge we could start to have for our game and for our show.
I was actually hoping to see if Dan was getting his new haircut today or not.
So since she's the barber right now, she's been at the new house doing it because we're moving. So she's been like doing stuff over there. So it's basically me here by myself.
He's like, I can't cut my own hair. No, there's no way.
Yeah, it would not be. It would maybe be worse than what I did.
Actually, Brendan had a suggestion. He said you could try WordPress.
He's saying that if you maybe try WordPress because they update, the website more often.
Yeah, but we tried WordPress.
I can't vouch
We're just
for that.
not very that talented to do WordPress. I still feel like WordPress is
I feel like we're like starting from scratch with WordPress, but it's another option.
We're a little bit terrified about when we do the website conversion because of how intricate all of the different pages we have with all the passwords and all that stuff. There's so much that we would love to be able to do, like we get one of the biggest pieces of feedback we get is when you enter a password, for people to be able to see the password as they're entering it. And we're like, we would love to offer that to you, but we cannot do that.
No, you can't do that.
And it's like such a small, tiny little detail that would like really enhance the experience. And we're like, oh, we wish we could do this.
Oh, actually, Brenda said that was a sarcasm.
Thanks, Brandon. I'm gonna put that in the same post that you just.
All right, going on to our.
This is a really good question that we love to ask.
Always. What's a valuable tip you can give to the creators out there now that could potentially save them some money and time?
If you're gonna do a subscription, don't do it monthly.
Yeah,
it'll just kill you.
It's rough to do a monthly subscription. We talk all the time. If only we had done it every other month.
Yeah. But I would have probably Kickstarted first. I think we should have done Kickstarter first, do the first design, and then think about a subscription. So if you're thinking about creating, if you're a new creator thinking about creating, I think Kickstarter is the way to go. Also, I think we would have had a much larger fan base had we Kickstarted first and not had, the first month I think we had 5 subscribers, so 5 people got Temple of the Sky Gods. So we ended up re-releasing it later because those 5 people were either we got them in another box or they weren't subscribers anymore 12 months later. So
your Kickstarter was it 2015? Did you have an option even for that? Like when you first started this?
Kickstarter existed. I think we talked about it.
He wanted to, but no, because I was afraid. I just don't like. I've never actually participated in the Kickstarter. Like he's the one that, he's the one that is always subscribing to new games, supporting Kickstarters and all that stuff. I just enjoy, he's like, I've got a new game, and I'm like, okay, let's do it. And so I don't make any decisions. It's just like when we book escape rooms, he's like, we're gonna go play this game, and I'm like, okay.
You mean he's causing you to be broke?
Yeah. Well, now it's all market research.
Sure, it's nice.
I think
all the time.
I think that with the Kickstarter thing, unless you're able to really sell your vision to people who would want to see it come to life, that's the biggest challenge. Getting people to believe.
I think there's a lot of people at home right now, though, that want something, so I think Kickstarter's a little bit easier right now.
Right now, yeah, definitely.
We thought we were going to, a couple months ago, to try to Kickstarter the Halloween box, because we thought we had a good idea and we thought we could get it, but we were just too busy. And then
we had to completely scratch the Halloween box this year. It was a stake in the heart. But we, like Dan's mentioned a few times, we are moving. We have, we're expanding our family. Like we have a lot of things happening, and I was like,
congratulations,
thank you. There's a lot to be done, and and especially since the seasonal boxes are more kind of my territory.
Yeah.
It's like there's no way I can do this, and I don't want to commit to something and then.
So I heard Kickstarter's a lot of work. So
yeah, because then you have all the updates daily, and you still have to promote the Kickstarter and whatnot, and I think going back to what you said about things for other people, not just the platform but also know your materials. I mean, we come in at kind of a lower price point than usually mystery box, especially the one-offs that are usually $70, $80. And you got to know that they're higher because they have, wood and things. I mean, I guess we put wood in the games before, but anyway,
they can have more physical as
things.
Kickstarter.
Yeah. So you kind of need to know, if you're designing a game, you kind of need to know what your end goal is, and your price point probably needs to be like at least $10 higher or a lot more.
And how to sustain it? How can you make a game that feels like, a consistent style through your subscription? Because obviously we have adapted and changed and grown, but I feel like if you played Mardi Gras and you played Artemis Rescue, which is our latest release, you would feel both of those games feel like a Conundrum Box. Obviously they are different and they have changed, but like how to make consistent games and make it feel like a cohesive brand. And then advertising.
We're terrible.
I mean, we were the best advertisers at the escape room, and now it's a challenge in a different way because you have the entire world to access, and how do you get your exact audience through advertising with that?
Right.
Karen has a question for you.
Yeah, she's getting this question in late, but she wants to know, when will the Christmas box go live?
We haven't decided on an exact go live date, but we're probably shooting for Black Friday.
Okay,
Oh,
that
okay.
makes sense.
Yeah. By the way, Karen, if you're getting in late, if you want to type in the comment section our special phrase, let me put it back up here. It is, I love me some Conundrum.
And to the raffle. And then I guess talking about the teams back again before, you said he does most of the designing and the graphics and whatnot. Do you also stuff your own boxes? Is it really just 2 people?
So our team is Dan and myself and my mom. My mom is probably our most important team member. She is our biggest cheerleader. She is the one that right now she's been at home helping us do pack envelopes for backstock. We're really trying to put that up for Christmas. She's our organizer. When you're a creative person, sometimes things get flying around, and she comes back behind us and puts the stuff back in the boxes and all the materials and organizes back on the shelves.
Wow.
And then we have 2 kind of auxiliary teammates, Evan and Judy Fort.
We have 4 escape games.
Who are our 3D printer people. We have an
army. Good interview for you guys. You guys should reach out to them. They do a lot. They built a bunch of props for us when we were doing escape rooms. They still do props for a bunch of people. So if you're interested in a prop builder's perspective for games, for escape games.
But we have more than I would like to say of 3D printers at our home that are working on stuff. But Evan and Judy are our backups and actually really kind of our primary 3D printers. So they are the ones that make sure that we have some cool original items in our boxes.
Okay.
That's good to know.
Angela from Crack and Nut, obviously, her and her mom are a dynamic duo, so she totally understands the mom factor. So shout out to all the moms that are involved in the escape room industry and the board game creations. And I love the fact that it's a family thing when you pull together and create and build.
We didn't even know there's so many mom and daughter teams out there. We're going to bring another one on soon. So.
Yeah. As we expand, we maybe bring on another person to help pack. But packing is really what takes the bulk of the time.
I can imagine, because you have so many.
Besides design.
Because your team, your game really involves around all the different envelopes, and if you misplace one, then people, it wouldn't make sense because it has to be yearly play. So yeah, definitely.
You need a tight quality check system.
Yeah,
we really pride ourselves on quality control and making. I think that knock on wood here, but in the last year, I think that we've maybe had 3 or 4 people contact us about something missing from an envelope.
Yeah.
And it's something that's really, really important to us, because there's nothing worse than you have a physical game and you get stuck and you can't do anything. So we try really, really hard to make sure that everything's packed perfectly.
That's great.
Okay.
And I guess our last question for you is anything new currently cooking in the Conundrum Box or outside of it even, and any exciting stuff for viewers to know about that's coming out soon? Tell us about.
We have a release schedule where we know the next 4 games. So we have a werewolf game for Halloween, obviously, for the Halloween month. We have an Atlantis/Mermaid game that's a 2-parter that's going to be November, December. And then the one that most people will get if they're doing Christmas presents is going to be Escape from Nottingham Jail, which is a Robin Hood themed one.
Ooh.
Yes, that's what we have in our subscription lineup coming up. And I'm also currently developing a kids line subscription, and so I guess that's a big announcement.
Yeah,
now I'm committed to it, right?
Heard it here first.
So we aren't sure exactly when that's going to launch, but throughout our subscription series, you're part of what we call the Great Explorer Society, and We released earlier in the year an online game for the Junior Explorer Society. And so that's kind of what this series is going to be like.
Ooh.
But it all falls under the Conundrum Box. So, right?
Yes, it will be Conundrum Box, but it will be it's going to be kind of like a separate subscriction.
That's,
I'm excited for things.
I wish they had stuff like this when I was a kid.
He had was like ballet.
I had like Transformers and like, which is cool and stuff, but you
What
know,
about those ballet cuts?
I don't know what she's talking about.
Okay.
So,
It's cool. Yeah, no, it's cool to see the families that enjoy it and the feedback. My 12 and my 14-year-old kid were entertained for hours playing your game, and it's like so gratifying. And especially if we can make something that's a little bit more centered towards a younger audience.
We do get the subscriptions that cancel. Like, we love the game, but my kids are too young for this.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So as a member, they would be able to purchase both. Like they would be able to like cross.
yeah, they could get them both. I don't think they would cross over on content at all. Like, the stories would be related because everything we have now is related somehow to the Great Explorers Society.
Right.
Either very remotely or like we hide little Easter eggs in every story for that. But so it would be the same story world, but I don't think they would share puzzles at all.
Right, and it would be a separate subscription, so you wouldn't get as a Conundrum Box subscription subscriber, you wouldn't get a Junior Explorer Society.
And then I guess for people who are thinking about, the pricings out there and whatnot, at least it's going to be cheaper than hiring a babysitter. And you're going to keep them busy for 2 hours.
For sure.
Do your thing. Okay, so we're back to our most exciting segment.
Yeah. So you guys have a beverage in front of you?
Well, I do. She can't right now.
No, I can't.
Rum and Coke.
I think they
Big
did
rum and Coke.
Yeah. What do you have
Dan,
there?
what are you drinking there?
It's a rum and Coke, a really big rum and Coke.
What kind of rum? Can we name drop what brand you're?
It's Captain Morgan.
Okay. What do you have, Brandon?
So I have, it's actually one of Cece's favorite drinks, but she's not drinking.
Oh, yeah.
It's called the Kikusui Perfect Snow. It is a
pretty
sake drink. It's a very pretty bottle, but it's unfiltered sake. And we've had it before, it's very good, but we have not had it on the show yet. So I'm very excited to open this up. So you can get all the answers right if you want to, okay?
This is going to be a little bit tough for you guys because I know you have so many little pieces of clues and whatnot. So
you did the questions.
I'm sorry.
So right now we are going to play. What are we going to play? We're going to play. Take a drink. All right. So the way we play Think and Drink is we ask our guests questions about their own game or games. I think this one's games, so to speak, because I feel like...
Yeah, so we're going to do our first 3 questions with Sleight of Hand, and then we're going to do our last 3 with Orient Express.
Yes. Okay. So you have 10 seconds to answer the question from after we finish the question.
Yeah,
Okay?
if anybody wants to help you in the job, you can.
They could be your
But
lifeline.
usually you don't.
I think they'd rather
Don't
see
get
you
your
drink.
So, okay, so our first question for you that you have to answer in 10 seconds is, who's the girl who hired you, the detective? The girl that hired you. So, no.
It's Mrs.
Sleight of Hand.
In Sleight of Hand, it's Mrs. Conundrum hires you.
The one that wrote the letter, the intro, the little note at the beginning, the sign, the person who signed it.
Was it Callie? Somebody? I don't know.
No, it was Professor Conundrum's wife.
I don't know.
And her name is?
Who?
Anyone know out there?
No, I mean it's more of the person who hired to detect.
Oh yeah, who hired the
It's not
players?
really Lady Conundrum.
Yeah, I can't remember her first name, but it was Lady Conundrum.
Lucille Tyson.
Yes, that's their name.
You know what? You're good. That's right.
Well, thinking like technicality.
No, we'll drink together on this one. I believe you had the right answer. It was right there.
It's Tim White talk.
I couldn't remember their name.
I didn't know that she had a real name.
Yeah. The stage name is Lady Conundrum.
All right.
Cheers.
Great job, Dan. There you go.
Okay. So our second question.
Let me bring this.
This one should be a little bit easier, I feel like.
So question number 2. What year is the American Magic Tour?
Oh crap. 1920.
Final answer?
Final answer?
Yeah.
By the way, oh crap is not the answer, but great job. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to drink because
I like that.
I'm a team player.
he's gonna have fun designing puzzles tonight.
I'm the great tonight, so that's fun to be easy.
Due to this.
Yeah.
Because this happened.
We'll put a little disclaimer on this next game that we're designing.
Just make sure he's not the one doing quality
New ideas
control.
are coming out. Alright, third question. So this one is, I'm sorry. This one is on the heart of the king card, right? The king on that.
Sleight of hand, yeah.
What is he holding?
I don't know, a dagger, I don't know.
This one's interesting.
A dagger, I don't know.
Ooh, you were so far. It's actually a rooster.
Rooster.
Rooster. It was really interesting finding the art for the card decks. He had me look through like 20 or 30 different options and.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we bought the rights to the face,
And then he edited it all.
and then they added them in.
So Angela from Cracking Up feels for you. She said it's so much harder than it looks. She knows the answer, but oh crap.
So Brendan said your next box is gonna be weird.
Yeah, I feel it too. But interesting. Just, let me bring this clock back, and we are on question number 4.
Question 4,
Which is-
these
so now
are
we're
going to be
going-
Orient Express questions.
Orient Express. And question what year was on the invitation to the train excursion of the century?
What was the question, sorry?
What year is on the invitation of the train of the century? Like what year is that?
I want to say 32.
What is it?
1932. 1932.
We gotta give it to him.
Yeah, that was close.
Close.
You know, we should do like a 5-year
Okay.
range. It was 1930.
35. Yeah. Any special date mentioning for that, or like anybody's
Any
birthday? Is there
significance for that year?
For 1935, no, but because our games are played, and the both that you played is the detective character. So we have certain characters you play as. So the dates just have to fall in enough years where that person would still be alive. So that's why you started in 1920 with the detective. That's the earliest detective. And then I actually think 1935 is the latest detective one too. So
And also we do try to keep some sort of historical context accuracy. Him being a historian, that is important. So like it would be something that would be imaginable in that time frame.
I believe 1935 was actually the reintroduction of the Simpleton Orient Express. So I think that's why I had to pick 35.
Just maybe you know this answer. Which one came first, Sleight of Hand or?
they're newest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we don't go chronologically. We kind of fit stories where they fit. So sometimes, for example, so we had that original character. It's the same character from Mardi Gras, our first box. And so it made sense to go back and so the Orient Express to be during that time period. So it's a couple years after Mardi Gras. And then for the Professor Conundrum, honestly, it was because I didn't want to create another character in the early 1900s, and I want Houdini to be kind of. So that's where those time periods came from. They kind of fitted together. Whereas like Sleepy Hollow and Emerald Isle, they're a different character. They're in the 1800s.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on like what storyline he's going with.
Yeah.
It's all dependent on the time period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a whole other world you created.
Travel during different realms. Yes. All right.
Number 5.
Yeah. So what stop? What stop is after the Budapest train stop after on the board game map?
After Budapest, Vienna.
After Budapest. What is it?
Oh no, it's gonna be Constantinople, isn't it?
That's not even a stop.
Where does it end? I can't remember where it ends.
You notice my complete silence on all of these questions. I mean, he has a guess.
The answer is Bucharest.
In Romania.
That's the end.
Like that.
Granted, this is an older game.
He's
so-
like, I'm gonna have to recreate all my games again.
Okay, you don't have to chug it.
All right, we do have a bonus question for you. Regardless, whoever gets it right, well, I'm not playing, but if you get it wrong, I'll take this last drink with you. But the question for you is, let me bring this countdown back. What is the tonnage for the engine and hopper?
Oh no, I remember the puzzle, but I can't remember how.
Just guess something.
200. I don't know.
You were off by 100.
Whole 100.
300. Cheers. Thank you for playing. Take a drink with us. It's always great to
To get people drunk and then can't do anything else the rest of the day. That's our goal here.
Well, it's Friday, right? It's in the middle of the day, but it's on a Friday.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, at least you're not 9 a.m. in Hawaii, which we never really considered when we did this. Or like 11 p.m. or something UK.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun.
Yep.
And thanks everyone
One more
for
time,
watching.
just in case anyone missed it. Secret phrase, I love me some Conundrum. And also, they are generously offering a 20%
Yes.
off discount code from now until March 31st of next year.
Yeah, 20% off. You have so
Stock
much time
up.
to think about it.
Yeah, there's so many
Also
great
with the
games.
holidays.
We've only played the 2 that we've been mentioning, but we've heard great things about the other ones as well. So, regardless, you're going to have a lot of fun games to play with.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having us. It was great to talk with you guys.
Yeah,
me
for
too.
sure. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
See you in
everybody.
the next episode.
3 hits left for me to choose. 2 hits left for me to use. 1 hit left for me to move. Time is running out, gotta figure something out. 3 hits left for me to choose. 2 hits left for me to use. 1 hit left for me to move. Time is running out, gotta figure something out.